what is happening? Magnus. So, Karmelo Anthony is appealing. And I think that we all knew that they would be appealing. You know what I mean? So, let's check this out and see if we can get some details on this.
Karmelo Anthony appealing his murder conviction and sentence of 35 years in prison for stabbing and killing Austin Metcalf at a track meet. Prosecutors say the appeal was expected and that the evidence is on their side. They also dispelled any concern that race was a factor.
Frisco, Texas is a diverse community. The kids that were out there were diverse. Austin, Hunter, and Metcalf were good kids that had friends of all races. Karmelo Anthony had friends of all races. So the case simply had nothing to do about race. It wasn't self-defense because two reasons. Basically, you can't provoke a difficulty with someone in Texas and then use it as an excuse to kill them. Another way to think about it is you can't, if somebody throws a punch at you, you can't pull out a gun and shoot him.
Joining us now is author and co-chair of...
Two things. I did see a video earlier with someone talking about the situation and saying that that the twins were racist. But I haven't seen anything that said they were racist. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know they had an altercation, but just because a black person and a white person have an altercation doesn't mean one or both of them are racist. You know what I'm saying? So, if there was some evidence of that, send that to me. And people kept saying that the family bought a house and cars or something with the donation money. But when I went to look that up, it kept showing me that they didn't. So I don't know what the back and forth is with it. Like, they were saying that they did it, but they did use it for like security and protection and relocation, because they actually already owned the house or something. So I don't know what the technicalities are with that. Did they use it for a down payment on a new car? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what was going on with that. But as I continue to go through this stuff, I'm seeing different things. So I'm talking about it.
Project 21, Horace Cooper. Horace, great to have you here in person. That said, we do head to an appeal now, where seemingly the only argument on appeal is connected to race, the argument being that there were no black jurors. Will that argument work?
So this is a standard Batson claim that since the Supreme Court has ruled that if you are the accused and all of the peremptory challenges that the prosecutors used eliminated a person of the same race as the accused, you can ask the question as to why that occurred. But what actually happened here is that teachers were challenged. Now, if you're going to say that if you're a black teacher, you get to stay on the jury, but if you're a white teacher, you're not going to be able to stay on the jury.
I'm going to talk about different things that come to my mind as I'm watching this, as usual. So one thing I saw, and I don't know if it's true, was that there were supposed to be 3 black jurors on the jury, but they were dismissed because they said that they couldn't see themselves convicting a young black man. So that was the reasoning. Don't know if it's true, but that's what I heard. So that's why there was no black people on there, because the black people they did choose said they couldn't convict a young black man. So I can see why, because it's like, well, if there is overwhelming evidence of a black person being guilty, they're not going to convict him anyway. So it's like that's not useful in any way, shape, or form, you know. So, all right. And I know there was something else. Oh, but the whole thing with him carrying the knife. People saying, well, it's Texas. Everybody got a knife. Well, it's like saying it's Texas. Everybody carries a gun. But not everybody does carry a knife or a gun in Texas, you know. And it didn't mean that he needed to bring one with him. You know what I'm saying? So, I've seen videos where people are saying, like, I keep saying in the comment section, if he hadn't have brought that knife. Yeah, if he hadn't brought that knife, it probably would have just been a little physical skirmish. Maybe you would have just left. I heard the twins are bigger than him by like 50, 60 pounds or something like that. But just because someone's bigger than you, if there is an altercation, it still doesn't mean you stab him in the chest. You see what I'm saying? Like, I just know myself. I would have just walked away. Just a certain part where ego, and like say I did have a knife on me. I know that pulling that knife could end a whole lot worse than me just walking away. There's certain ways that you can diffuse things and walk away with your pride with using your words. You know what I mean? I've seen situations where people have walked away from a situation, but you could tell they weren't scared. You could tell they weren't a punk. They didn't look like they were cowering. But they just, But anyway, yeah.
Even though it was recognized that a teacher might not look at this case the way the law requires.
That's such a good point, and I think that is what makes this argument on appeal about to fail, and I think we need to be clear-minded on that. Another reason I think things went so well in this court.
I'm going to say that if you're a black, as to why that occurred. But what actually happened here is that teachers were challenged. Now, if you're going to say that if you're a black teacher, you get to stay on the jury, but if you're a white teacher, you're not going to be able to stay on the jury, even though it was recognized that a teacher might not look at this case the way the law requires.
That's such a good point, and I think that is what makes this argument on appeal about to fail, and I think we need to be clear-minded on that. Another reason I think things went so well in this courtroom, the judge did a spectacular job of keeping this courtroom from really getting infected with the undercurrent of race. One individual who did not do the same, of course, is Jasmine Crockett, nor did she seem to understand the facts of the case. Watch this.
Well, it could have been about race. It doesn't seem like it was about race, and it seems like it was a well-to-do mixed community. So that doesn't mean that it was about race. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know people are making it about race. You know what I'm saying? I've seen white people and black people making it about race. So, and when something like this happens, that someone's going to make it about race. If it was two black boys or two white boys, this shit wouldn't even be going on right now. It wouldn't even be going on right now. And maybe if the same conviction and sentencing had happened, whether it was two black boys or two white boys, maybe people would have had issues with the sentencing done, what the sentence was. I was listening to a video today where they were saying, well, like down the road, apparently, a kid brought a knife to a fight he knew he was going to have in a boy's bathroom. Got in the fight with a kid. It was a white kid and a Hispanic kid. And he stabbed the Hispanic kid 4 times and he died, but he only got like 6 months to a year or something like that. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. It's something like that. So people are kind of like, well, or 6 months to 5 years or something like that. So people are like, well, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. How in the hell does he get 6 months to 5 years and you give this boy 35? In both situations, both boys were wrong. All the boys were wrong. All of them were wrong. All right. But there's some discrepancy there. Whoa, why such a heavy sentence for him and not a heavy sentence for the other one? They both took a life, right? So shouldn't they both, like many people are saying, he should have got life? Well, if that's the case, then they both should get life, correct? It's interesting.
If a 300-pound man is beating me, like on top of me and beating me down, I'm not limited to fist.
So just to be clear, Metcalf
But that's not what happened. So
was not 300 pounds. He wasn't beating down on anyone. And not that this was a
that's what I
fight,
was
because
saying. I saw a longer clip of that, and I know people are using that whole self-defense and stand your ground thing, but it just goes back to, well, I say he shouldn't have had the knife on him in the first place. But, okay, what if he did? I saw something that said something like, everyone's allowed to carry a knife down there, as long as it's not like longer than 5.5 inches for minors or something like that. So, okay. So if he was allowed to carry it, still doesn't mean you pull it out and plunge it into somebody's heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, even if you pull it out and back away, like, don't touch me, that may have actually diffused it. You know what I'm saying? So there's so many ways this could have went to where nobody got cut or died, and he could have walked away, and not been going through this. I don't see this any situation where it was like he had no choice. Every single story I've heard, even though I'm hearing conflicting stories and stories that are basically the same but a little bit different, none of them say to me he had no choice. You know what I'm saying?
it's clearly been acknowledged in court that it was not a fight, but under the law, you are limited in a fist fight to just using your fist. You cannot use a knife. What's your message to Jasmine Crockett?
Miss Crockett misses the limelight, and she is willing to stir up a lot.
And I did hear that the twins were bullies. Even if you're being bullied, you can't bring a knife to school and plunge it into their heart. And I was bullied when I was younger. It was mainly verbal. Never really was bothered physically, but verbally enough. I wouldn't call it. It was kind of a lot, but it wasn't super heavy-handed like you see in the movies. How get the bullies all get in your face and all that. It wasn't like that. But what I'm saying is, what's funny is, as much as I was bullied, and I know everyone's different, everyone handles things differently, I never wanted to kill any of the bullies. Some of them I wanted to fight. You know what I mean? I got in a fight with a couple of them, but nothing really, There was a little scuffle. No winner at all, just a little scuffle. But I never wanted to kill him. And I knew that stabbing one of them for getting in my face or something like that was overboard. I knew this. But I stayed out of trouble anyway. I just, majority of the time, if you're a person that stays out of trouble, trouble doesn't tend to find you. It's usually if you're a person that finds trouble a lot or enough, trouble will find you. And if you decide to turn over a new leaf, you got to remember some of those seeds you sowed while you was looking for trouble can come back to bite you. So try to steer clear even after you've ended that life of, violence and acting up and, and bravado and ego and stuff like that. So I had more of a point for this too. But I don't see anything where he had to do it. Yeah.
Racial animus in Texas as a way to keep herself in the limelight. There are no actual racial elements associated with this case. Here's the real story. When I grew up in Texas, if an incident like this that occurred, your parents' job was to take you right down to the sheriff's office and let you plea and admit to this. His refusal to plea and admit to this has resulted in a staggering 35-year sentence. But if you make the prosecutor prove a slam dunk case, this is what you get.
Question.
Yeah, they didn't put him on the stand either. I wonder if with the appeal, if they'll put him on the stand. I saw a lawyer talking about it, and there's some lawyers that say that you should never put him on there, and there's some that believe you should, unless you can't. So I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. But maybe if he was allowed to speak for himself, But the fact of the matter is, somebody is gone. They said that after he stabbed him. He was like, is he okay? I just know how I am. I'm like, just walk away. Just walk away. Even if your ego is bruised, it's not worth losing 35 years of your life. Even if, you know what I'm saying? Walk away. Because I'm telling you, in nowhere, there's no way I can think about it other than street cred, which don't matter, that you killed a dude and did 35 years and you get out. Yo, what's up, man? Yeah, you did what you had to do, but you lost 35 years of your life. It's not worth it, man.
That I don't hear a lot of people talking about, and we need to be quick on this. It's a Hail Mary question. In light of what you just said, the fact that he did not go to the court to plead, maybe his lawyers told him not to. Could you see an ineffective assistance of counsel argument being made here to invalidate the conviction?
Absolutely not. None of these claims are going to work, and it's a shame that doing the right thing wasn't what the mom and dad in this family wanted to do.
Horace Cooper, thank you so much for your time and your insight. Very much appreciate it.
Now, somebody was talking about that. Because I was doing my morning cardio, and I was listening to. So one of the videos, they were talking about the whole thing that happened with the Chinese store, and he said that when the dude ran out, that as he was running away, he pulled a gun on them while he was running. They shot him after that, which, I mean, if he had it while he was running like he was going to shoot at them, then I see why they shot back. It's a little bit different if, you pull it like to scare them off, but you ain't really scare them and they're still running after you. And then you put it back in your pocket or whatever and you're still running. Then they shoot you in the back. That's different. I don't know all the details about that right there. But it seemed like I had a lot of people in my comment section that were talking about that. They were like, yeah, and the Chinese man got away with it. But they made it sound like he stole a water, ran away, and got shot in the back. Or didn't steal a water and ran away and got shot in the back. But everybody left out the fact, or maybe not, because I only saw one video on it. But the video said that he actually pulled a gun on them as he was running. And he was taking pictures with guns and, and everything. And, it's one of those things where it's like, wait a minute. He taking pictures with guns and all this stuff. And where's the parents during this whole situation? Why didn't they have him take it down? Why didn't they talk to him about it? Why does he have a gun? You know what I'm saying? It's a whole lot of stuff here. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think. Do you think he will win the appeal? Truthfully, I don't know. If he does, I'm sure he'll get probably manslaughter, because I don't think he meant to kill him. So he probably should have gotten manslaughter. But yeah, either way, he's going away. Either way, he's going away. So, post the comments down below. Like I said, let me know what you all think about this situation, and I'll see you in the next video.